Hey Stampers, I'm Meg from Loven Stamps, and this is the Wednesday edition of Maker Mornings with Meg. So today is actually our, don't plan on not tuning in for the next week or so, because I still have things for you, but today's gonna be our last live Maker Mornings with Meg until after spring break. I have some fun things planned with you for spring break. We're gonna do a spring break rewind, and I have a whole bunch of features, and they're actually gonna post every day at the 9:30 a.m. Central Time. So you can look forward to seeing those, some pictures and some projects, and they are all going to feature things that you'll want to be looking at because of the Savings Are in Bloom special in March. So there's, wait, moved the wrong way there. Oh, pointed the wrong way too. This is like backwards flip thing is hard sometimes. So there is my mini Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, which we're going to use today as one of our project pieces because it's really the perfect size for what I'm going to show you. And the stamp set we're going to feature is Hydrangea Haven, which is one of the ones that you can get as a bundle with great discount. Now I'm also going to show you today the Tulip Fields bundle and the Flower and Fields Designer Series paper. So papers available. These dies are on, they're not available for order at the moment, but they're scheduled to be in March 14th. So that's sometime next week, maybe, back in stock. So you're just gonna have to add those to your wish list for your next order. All right, and as always, link is in the video description below for all of the things that I'm showing you today. All right, hey Anne Marie and Kathy and Margie and Tanya and Sue and Trish and Kathy and Jennifer, everybody who is jumping on. Carol. Make sure you guys say hi, say where you're watching from. Just kind of fun. We have like all different time zones often, which is always kind of fun. So we're here drinking our coffee and people are over on the other side of the globe, like getting ready for bed. So anyway, hey Cheryl. All right, Sally. Hey Sally. I'm gonna go ahead and flip our camera around and we're gonna get started. If I feel super caffeinated today, it is because I am. We have had a busy morning already. My son got an award for his writing this morning, which was really fun. And he was excited because there was cash for it. So we got to go see that presented early and then, a quick stop in at the wisdom teeth doctor. What do you call that? Periodontist? Anyway, oral surgeon person, all the things. So it's been exciting already. And an extra Starbucks, which is really the result here. All right, so Hydrangea Haven stamp set is a great one. It is one that I featured last year a little bit, but we're gonna bring out some another way to use it. We're going to combine it with Flowering Fields. So I have a piece of cardstock for our background here, which is going to be Fresh Freesia. And I just noticed I have a little blurb there. So I'm going to put that on the front because it's going to get covered up. Did I say Fresh Fields? I meant Flowering Fields. All right. So this here is going to be our card base, and we're going to cover that up eventually. But let's get our hydrangea done because the part that I'm going to show you is using the blending brushes to create a really pretty variated effect on our hydrangea stamp. So, and then we're gonna layer from there. And I'm gonna make sure this is clean here. Yep, okay. So let's go ahead and stamp our background. Now, a lot of times we think of stamping our line image when you have a two-step stamp set where you have a line and then a backgroundy part. We think about stamping this like in black or brown, but I'd encourage you to think about stamping it in a color that goes along with your front image. And so we're gonna go ahead and use, I think, is this Raspberry? Oh, Blackberry Bliss here. And so there we have our outline of our flower. And now we want to add some color to that, and we're going to add that using this background image here. Now, you could just totally ink this up in Fresh Freesia, and it would be very pretty, but I find that it's a little bit flat, and it's really easy to add more color to it, so I'm going to show you how to do that. And if it's that easy, why wouldn't we, right? All right, here, I'll show you on the envelope. We'll do the flat version, so it'll be the unexpected surprise inside the card. So the flat version is also very pretty. Okay, so here's our hydrangea, and then I'm gonna go ahead and ink this up in Fresh Freesia and stamp it here. Now this image doesn't line up exactly, it's approximate, so you don't need to panic about getting it exactly where it needs to be, okay? So there's the Fresh Freesia flat version, but let's ink this up again. And I always start with my lightest color for my first inking, and then I use my blending brushes to layer color on there. And we're gonna use a direct to stamp technique with our blending brush. So a lot of times I use these for background and things like that. But for this one, we're gonna do our ink onto our stamp. So I'm going to tap around the edge. I'm gonna kind of leave the center without any of the pink accent because I want the Fresh Freesia to really show through. And then I have another blending brush. Remember, just sort of rub in a circle, and I'm gonna take that Blackberry Bliss and I'm gonna add it around the edge. Now, let's get a layer going here. So you can see on this layer, there's a little bit of kind of an abrupt change on there. So rather than leave that, I'm just gonna use my blending brush here without adding extra ink, and I'm gonna tap right at that intersection between the colors to just sort of ease that transition. And then when I stamp this on here, you'll notice I often pick this up with photopolymer and just, you know, go ahead and rub it a little bit to make sure the whole center is covered. Then we have a really cool color variation to our hydrangea. So much more like realistic, and the dark is kind of around the edge like a shadow, and just kind of a pretty effect, okay? All right, so now let's get some of these out of the way and bring back in our shaded spruce. And if you're wondering how I picked the colors for this, I am going to pick them, or I have picked them, based on this piece of the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper. So I'll show you those too. All right, so the leaves here, I want to be a little bit on the lighter side because this is gonna be kind of a background image. So I'm gonna stamp off on our scratch paper once and then stamp here on my project so that we have just a little bit lighter. And where's my envelope? I'm gonna go ahead and do it again. Even though this doesn't have to be a background image, I'm gonna stamp off again so that the strength of that color sort of matches our purples a little bit more. So there's our pretty envelope. All right. When you have stamps like this that just go so well together, you just want to keep stamping them. At least I do. I just want to keep stamping them. All right. So we have our hydrangea here, which is going to go on our background paper. And we're going to go ahead and layer this, like I said, on our Fresh Freesia background. So this is going to go across here. Let's go ahead and stick down our Designer Series paper. So I'm going to show you two versions of this card. I'm going to show you the simple hydrangea version, and I'm going to show you one that includes some cool pieces from Flowering Fields to make sort of a springtime vignette. So I don't know if it's bicycle riding season yet where you are, but you're going to think about getting your bicycle out after you see this card today. All right, now, because I wanted to show you the bundle for this, the Hydrangea Stamp Set has a coordinating die bundle where you can cut out, this is the big image here, the big hydrangea image, and then there's some borders, some leaves. It's a gorgeous combination of dies that really bring out the most of the stamp set, the best in the stamp set. But we are, let's see. I wanted to make sure I showed this to you guys so that you could see all the pieces. And then these cute little labels and stuff here too. So you can even these dies right here. If you're like, wait, what are those random pieces? They are for adding little layers of extra blossoms to your hydrangea. So they give you even more possibilities. So it occurs to me that you could make like a little pot of the pile of flowers here with the cactus punch and kind of pile those up. So, all right, so we have our piece here, and this is gonna go here on the side. Let's see, we'll move it to this side. So let's bring in those extra pieces for doing our little vignette. And, oh, Tanya says such pretty paper. Yes, actually, here's the others. Thanks for reminding me, I didn't show you all of them. So these are the other Flowering Fields Designer Series papers, and of course this purple here. And then here are the backs, which give you such great choices. And the back of the Flowering Fields one here is this pretty purple, which actually we're gonna use because this makes a great greeting strip, okay? All right, so those are those papers, and they are available, so you don't have to wait for them. So let's bring in the dies from the Tulip Tulip Fields bundle, which are these fun windmills, which when I first saw that, I was like, oh, the windmills are cool, but they're very specific. I don't know how often I'll use the windmills. But then I was like, oh, but then there's a little bicycle and some other little elements, and maybe I will use those even more. So between the two, I found this to be a really fun and handy stamp set. And the bicycle goes with so many things. The sizing is just perfect. So let's bring in our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which of course is half price. No, 20% off? I don't remember. 20% off. Sorry. What is it? Yeah, 20% off during this special. Whew, that was almost surprising. And I'm gonna go ahead and die cut these elements. So I have here the little bicycle. There are a whole bunch of these little tiny fence post pieces. And I'm gonna pop that on there. And then I have this little tree, which is gonna be fun for our scene too. So I'm gonna put all these on here, stack up my plates, offset them, which is usually my strategy for making sure that I can get everything to go through. There we go. If you have trouble with your plates grabbing, sorry, we're like off the edge of the camera here. If you have trouble with your plates, goodness, grabbing, think about staggering them rather than lining them all up. And that often will help you to get that set of plates started through. So, all right, so we've got all this here. And then when we pull our pieces out, we have our elements die cut. And all right, so it's really tempting to want to pop this out, but I think I'm gonna wait on that one and I might run it through one more time. There's our tree and our fence pieces. So what I'm looking for when I flip this over is to make sure that I have a really good die cut. Like you can clearly see this fence is cut all the way through, no problem. And actually I think this one is too. So what I'm looking for is just to make sure that that's the case before I pull them out. Because you still have an opportunity to run that through just one more time to make sure that you're not struggling when you do your die. So we'll give this just a little more. There we go. Okay, now I'm confident that that will be super well cut. And in fact, pieces are falling out of it. All right, so when I die cut, when these kinds of dies first came out, I used to kind of shy away from them because I didn't like the idea of working so hard to get all the pieces punched out. But since then, Stampin' Up! Has come out with some great tools, one of which is the brush attachment for the Take Your Pick tool, which actually I think I forgot to put in the video description, but you can add that one. And so what I do is I like to hold my die in my hand and just run this kind of gently back and forth and move it around a little. And that gets a lot of the pieces that are gonna have to be punched out, if not all. Oh, look. Okay, I got all of them. I really think actually running it back and forth a few times is probably the key there in getting that all to pop out so easily. So just a little bit more cycling through your die cut machine will really simplify your process. Now, the other thing that's handy about having the brush here, the die brush, is that you can keep the other end of your Take Your Pick tool as the pokey tool part. I know that's the technical term. And then you have that right handy in your hand already to poke out any other stray pieces. So, all right. So we have a little triple fence, and then this one's gonna be our little double fence, and I'm gonna set my dies someplace safe so they don't lose them. Okay, and then we have our pieces ready to go for our little bicycle scene. Now, if you're like, wait, how is this all gonna go together here to make a scene with this, oops, better not lose that. With this card, we're gonna do that next. All right, if you like to make scenes with your die cuts and your stamps, leave a comment. I find a lot of times that when I stamp with kiddos, they are used to coloring like a picture. They're used to drawing, you know, the house and the people standing next to it and the car and the tree, kind of in a 2D panorama. So kiddos often really like to make scenes when they stamp because their background is, you know, drawing these scenes. And so they like to recreate those kinds of scenes with their stamps. So if you have small people that you stamp with, like if you're gonna have small people around over spring break, this could be a great time to get something like this out and have them play with some dies too. All right, so we're gonna have our strip across here, which is gonna give us a line, a horizontal line on which to build our scene. And then we're gonna go ahead and add our pieces here. And so our hydrangea is now moving into the background. So here's the first version of the card, hydrangea in the very front. That's our focal point and our foreground. And then we're gonna move it to the background by adding in these fun extra pieces here. So we have our fence piece here and our fence piece here. And then because we have kind of like we have a split focal point here now. We have, wait, do I look at the hydrangea? Wait, do I look at the bicycle? What's going on? We're gonna strengthen this focal point by giving it just a little bit more element. Okay, so let's pull this off here and start attaching. So I've got my strip here, which is gonna go down like this. Oh, Kathy says she has all these pieces already, so you can work on your project. Hooray, right? Isn't it great when I conveniently show you things that you've already got on hand. You go get stamping right now. So I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue for this, which if you can see it, it is enough. And so you don't need a ton of glue. That's probably more than I need. And I'm going to pop this one, let's see, way out here, I think is where it's going to go. Okay. I've got a little extra glue popping around there, but that's okay. It'll be all right. And then I'm going to put the other fence at the other side. And there you go, just a teeny bit of glue on there. Okay, if you're like, oh my gosh, Meg, you're getting glue on your hands, it'll be fine. I'm not that worried about it. Okay, and then our tree, which is going to go here. Now, part of creating a stronger focal point could be moving things up in layers. So I am going to go ahead and put our tree on a Stampin' Dimensional because that's going to give it a little bit more presence, a little bit more strength. And then I'm going to place this kind of there so that it overlaps our bicycle. All right, and then our bicycle we're going to go ahead and do with the multi-purpose liquid glue. And I'm not going to worry about the smallest elements. I'm just going to kind of put some glue on like the wheel cover, wheel hubs, and the pieces there that are a little bit thicker, so they have a little bit more space for our glue, which gives me some place to hold also. So this is going to pop on here. Now, multi-purpose liquid glue grabs hard, but not instantly. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a block and drop this on here so that that will stay where we put it. All right, now I was talking about kind of strengthening this focal point. We're going to go ahead and do that by adding a greeting. And what we're missing here, in large quantity at least, is some basic white area. So I'm going to grab a little slip of the basic white paper and one of our teeny greetings. So where is it? Hydrangea Stamp Set has some terrific greetings in it. You make me smile. The world's a better place because of you. To incredible women. I think yesterday was International Women's Day, right? Thank you. Congrats. With love for you. I appreciate the little things you do, and you are capable of amazing things, which I think is a fabulous greeting. Always good to lift each other up. So I'm going to bring back in our Blackberry Bliss ink pad, and we're just going to do a real simple thank you on the front of this. And I'm going to trim this down pretty tight. Okay. So I'm going to pull it down like this. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut some sort of diagonal spaces on here so that I can't cut my diagonals upside down. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay, and I feel like it's not very well centered. So I'm going to flip it over and try one more time. It'd be really convenient if it fit on this paper that I've already cut. Oh yes, much nicer. Okay, that was a little bit off to the side. So there we go. I guess maybe you could cut your banner shape first, and then with photopolymer, you can see through to get what you want. And then I'm going to add this here with one more little Stampin' Dimensional. I could make it flat, but I think it's fine to add one more layer. And I'm going to pop this up like that. And just that little extra, you can see without and then with, it just really strengthens this area of our card as a fun focal point. Hi, Deborah. Let's see. Oh, Beverly says she loves to do scenes, the child in me. Yes, of course, everyone can make scenes. I love them too. Like, look, here's our card. Kelly said, don't you use the foam when using your roller? My roller. Oh, this. Okay, yes and no. So that's a really good question, Kelly. So yes, sometimes I do this and just put it on the foam and press it down. Sometimes I actually like to put my fingers on the back of the die, because what I'm actually doing then is I'm holding that cardstock in the die. So I'm pressing the cardstock back into little grooves so that as this is pushing through the holes, it's supporting the die itself, like the actual bicycle, and it's letting those little tiny fragments pop through. So yes, I do use my mat, especially when it's a really large die and I have a lot of area to cover with my brush. But when I have a small die or like a really finicky area, then I'm holding it in my hand, because I'm actually keeping the die cut inside the metal part so that I can sort of focus my pressure with the brush. Yeah, good question. I love it when you guys ask great ones. Actually, I love it, all your questions. There's no such thing as a bad question. Okay, so we're not done with this yet though, because we need to add an embellishment, and the Flowery Fields Suite includes these brush breast butterflies, which you can say 10 times fast, and you know are one of my favorites because I have used a lot of them. You can pick them off with your fingernails, or honestly, if you use the slide and stick with your take your pick tool, then you can easily pull that off of there and add it. So that even further strengthens this area of our card. And you can see where before the hydrangea was the main focus, now the hydrangea is sort of like a fun backgroundy image, and then added to our like foreground little scene here, because we all love scenes. Well, I hope you guys do. I love scenes, and Beverly loves scenes too. So. All right, and let's see, we did our envelope already. To add to the center of this card, I really love the greeting that goes with this. The world is a better place because of you. And a good practice, especially if you're having trouble, I'm a professional, but you should try this at home. If you're having trouble getting great image transfer from your stamp to your cardstock, use the paper piercing pad, paper piercing mat underneath, and that will, especially in photopolymer stamps or only on photopolymer stamps, give you just enough extra give to that like sandwich so that you get really good ink transfer. And then we have that there, and then we could add like, you know, some leaves or a splotch or something like that. I don't know, let's see, we can add some little leaves here. I didn't mount these ahead of time. You can see I really like these. Oh, here's the die cut version. And this is the hydrangea done in with peach and with a pinky color. So here's the sort of with and without. You can kind of see the difference there. And here are our leaves. So there's small leaf sections and big leaf sections, and I have some blocks here. And we'll grab our shaded spruce, which is off the screen and still open. So I'm gonna go ahead and stamp off, and then go ahead and use full strength for the top. Now, you don't actually have to stamp off necessarily, because the stamp itself has a lot of texture to it. They are, sometimes Stampin' Up! Calls these a distinctive kind of shading, where you end up with a lot of variation to the color just by the way the stamp absorbs or picks up the ink. So that's a really cool way to get some color variation with no work from us. You of course could add blending brushes. You could do a variety of greens with your blending brushes, all kinds of things. You know, I'm a huge blending brush fan. So that would be our hydrangea card there with our extra elements. Now, oh, Trish says she's ready for spring. I am with you. It is very nicely sunny today, which is kind of appreciated always. So not especially warm, but not bad. I have another hydrangea project to share with you, and then I just wanted to show you some of the things that we're going to highlight over the next week or so. So here's another hydrangea card. There is that one. And you can see it's exactly the same layout. I just used a scalloped rectangle here. This is actually from Stitched So Sweetly, which is one of my go-to die sets. I mean, circles, squares, and Stitched So Sweetly are kind of my go-to. And then I'm gonna show you this little bit right here. I added these extra embellishments since this really, the hydrangea is our focus. I added some Playing with Patterns resin dots. And these little purple ones are a great match for fresh freesia. They're just a little lighter, so they give you a little bit lighter tone. You could always darken them up with a Stampin' Blends marker if you wanted to, but I kind of like them here. And then I also used the ribbon that's part of this suite, which is this one. And I kind of overlooked this at first, but I really enjoyed using it, especially with Flowering Fields. It's this shaded spruce. I don't know if you can tell that it's shaded spruce in the video so much, but it's nice to have that green shaped ribbon. And then the background here is the Playing with Patterns Designer Series paper, which is actually a hostess item. So you get a huge pack of paper at a really nice discounted price. So a great thing to do when you have, if you place a larger order, $150 or more, then you get to pick out your own host rewards, your Stampin' Rewards. And this Playing with Patterns paper is one of the things you can get at that point. So, all right, so here is the missing picture, but the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And then there are 12 plus, 13, I guess, die set bundles that are on feature during the month of March. And so these are what I'm gonna do in our Spring Break Rewind. Get ready for it. I'm gonna show you some projects with these to kind of get you remembering how many fabulous things there are that you can do. So here's like a quick sneak peek from one of the archive videos. This was the Quiet Meadow bundle, and a really pretty set of greetings and die cuts to kind of make a nice thank you card. And so I don't want to give them all away. You're going to see a bunch of those. So look for posts each day with those things featured. And you can, I'll link supply lists and so forth. If there are bundles from, sorry, I'll stop moving now. If there are bundles from this list, which is available, you can look at the ones that are on there using the link in the video description. I wouldn't necessarily wait, because if the dies go out of stock, then you won't be able to order those bundles with the special pricing. So don't wait. If there's one that you like, then just go ahead and get it so that you're not gonna miss out on it, because I think there's already like at least one of them that might not be available now. I think Beauty of Friendship, which is the tree bundle, is already sold out. So don't wait. All right, Sue says she's looking forward to seeing the past cards, a fun reminder. I know, right? We tend to kind of remember what's right in front of us. And sometimes cards from, a year ago are really fabulous. And gosh, a year ago was a long time to be making videos in our Maker Mornings with Meg series. So who knows, will hopefully be exciting. But yeah, watch for those over the next week. If you have any questions, just reach out and I'm happy to answer them for you. But again, lots of fun features upcoming. So, all right. Hope that you guys have a fabulous spring day. I hope that you are excited about some of these fun featurey elements. Those dies coming up. Again, these are the dies that will be coming up when they come back in stock. They're scheduled to be in the inventory maybe sometime next week. But in the meantime, Hydrangea Haven is really just a beautiful stamp for lots and lots of occasions, especially spring. So hope you guys have a fabulous day. Thanks for stamping with me this morning, and look for Spring Break Rewind starting on Friday. So happy stamping, guys. Have a great day, and I will see you soon.